Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's Lunch and Learn. I'm Lauren Smith with the International Franchise Association, and we have a great 30 minutes lined up for you. Before we begin, I would like to remind everyone that we are recording today's webinar and will make it available later this evening on community.franchise.org. If you have any questions for today's speakers, please add them to the chat box and they will be addressed toward the end. Today's topic is the entrepreneurial journey of Mary Anna Lewis, and it is brought to us by AnswerConnect. Here to provide today's discussion is Mariana Lewis, Mosquito Squad franchisee, and Karen Booz, Director of Business Development at AnswerConnect. Thank you all for joining us today, and thank you to AnswerConnect for sponsoring today's Lunch and Learn. I'll go ahead and turn things over to you.
Thank you, Lauren. This is Karen with AnswerConnect, and I have a cold. Let's call it that. So Lauren is going to step in, and she's going to help us walk through this process. But I do have a dear friend here with me, Mariana Lewis, that I've known for 11 years. She told me yesterday, and I've had the joy of being her friend, learning from her, and also being able to support her growth. So I am going to just ask Mariana to tell you a little bit about herself, and then we will start the webinar. Mariana.
Thank you, Karen. Would we like to go to the first slide and kind of start on a bigger scale? Or I'm married, I live in Charleston, I have 2 grown boys and not enough dogs.
Mariana, tell us how long you've been an owner at Mosquito Squad.
So we purchased Mosquito Squad in 2011, and so this is our 14th year. And then I bought another franchise concept in 2018 called the Clothespin.
And what key factors should, well, let's actually tell me how you decided to become a franchisee. Most of the people on here are franchisors, franchisees, but tell me, how did you decide to become a franchisee?
Well, I'll back up and just kind of tell you a little bit about my work history, because that was a big my work history was a big factor in helping me decide if I wanted to buy a franchise. But I started out in a straight commission sales role with a business coaching and consulting company, and I like to say I was 23 and I was too naive to know what I was getting myself into. They gave me the job description and said, this is how you do it. And it was some of the best 5 years of training and learning the basics of, a true sales process, kind of an old school sales process. And it also helped me just see the inner workings of so many locally privately held businesses. I live in Charleston, South Carolina, and back in the 80s, we worked locally and regionally. We did not work nationwide or internationally. So I got familiar, with family-run businesses, second and third generation businesses. And then I went into medical sales for about 5 years. And then when I started having children, I decided I wanted to work for myself. So I started business coaching and consulting on my own. Did that for about 20 years. And in the meantime, my husband sold his company. And so we started looking at things that we could do together. And believe it or not, the website Franchise Gator, it's a conglomeration of listings of franchises. We literally were sitting on the couch and just going down the list, and I kept naming off franchises, and he'd say, "Yep, nope, yep, nope." And we got to Mosquito Squad, and we're just really intrigued. But for myself, I knew enough about myself that I knew I didn't want to work for anyone. It's just not in my DNA. and the first two fantastic jobs that I had in my career helped teach me that. I was essentially, a salesperson, and a salesperson has a lot of freedom, and I knew I liked that, and I knew I liked being in charge of how much money I would earn. So that translated over when we were looking at becoming a franchise. But one of the things that I think you've got to consider when you're thinking about buying a franchise or even expanding, the question right now is, what's your why? What's your why? And so I think you've got to start out with the end in mind. Is your goal or is just to have more freedom? Is it to, pay for college tuition? Is it, on the opposite end of that? I don't know if y'all saw the latest copy of Entrepreneur magazine, but it's talking about your first 10 million. And the trend, which I'm sure y'all all know about, in franchising, is to get up to that level where you can sell to private equity. And that's got to be getting close to a double-digit revenue or a pretty high EBITDA, one or the other. So all to say, I think you've got to be clear on what your why is. And if you don't know that you're buying a business to eventually sell it, you just got to come to terms with that. Some franchisees keep theirs. We have a legacy agreement in our Mosquito Squad franchise agreement that my children would get substantial cost benefits if we keep it in the family. Not all franchise agreements have that, but I think you've got to know your why. You've got to have your end goal in mind. And so I'm looking at this next question. How do you assess if a franchise opportunity aligns with your personal and professional goals? That's where I think even a one-time coaching session with a business coach could be of help, or if you're working with a franchise broker, they can really, if you've got a good franchise broker, they can help you answer this question. But I know some people personally that have looked at some food concepts, and that their personal MO is one of health and just trying to clean eating and this, that, and the other. And so there are just personal ethos that don't jive with some things. I think I think the way you answer that question is you just do a lot of due diligence, and you do a lot of soul searching. Get with your partner, get with a friend, get with a mentor, and just say, hey, I'm trying to due diligence this and figure it out. And this is the concept. This is what you know about me. Where do you see us being a good fit? Where do you think there might be a rub? And because let me tell you, it's really easy for any of us to get intrigued by the numbers of a franchise, especially if it's new and it's growing. And I mean, I've been tempted to, give way to the dollar versus myself. And as I've gotten older and hopefully, a little more business maturity, personal maturity, those come into alignment. But I think we can all be swayed. So I just think the due diligence process is key. And having said that, our due diligence process with Mosquito Squad was 3 weeks. So we found it on Franchise Gator, and we'd already written the check, and our fannies were in a training room 3 weeks later.
Wow.
But then we evened it out with clothespin. It took us 9 months because I was older, just considering, kind of this next business chapter, did I have it in me? And so we really did a lot of due diligence with the second concept.
So it sounds, oops. Okay, I think I'm there. It sounds like you have gone clearly the fast track and then a much slower track. When you are expanding, once you have become a business owner, what are the most significant changes that you faced while expanding your business, and how did you overcome them?
Well, I will say the wonderful thing about owning a franchise, and I can speak to this because I work with so many individually, privately held businesses, and the benefit of having a franchise is you are buying that operations manual, you are buying those systems. And so I think, as small business owners, we all have challenges from marketing to personnel to payroll to cash flow. But what I have learned over time with both of my franchises is whenever I'm having a challenge, I need to go back to the basics, meaning a lot of us will buy a franchise and then we try to go do things our own way. And the reason we bought a franchise is because they have proven systems, methods, operations that work. So that in looking back has always been my first go-to, is to go back to the basics of what I bought. Go back to the basics of the best practices that the franchise espouses. So I've had marketing challenges, where vendors don't follow through on what they promised and under delivered, and we've had to pivot and figure out how to come in and make up that gap. We've had one of the challenges I'm thinking about was I was still coaching and consulting while we were running Mosquito Squad. And, again, one of the benefits of having a franchise is it allows you to scale. I mean, they've got the systems in place for you to scale. And we started to scale, and I had to get some really key folks in there. And I mean, we all know that our people are our most valuable resource. And I'm just going to sound like a broken record, but when you pick the right people and invest in them, the return on that investment is just multiplied. And when we started to scale, I could not have done it without my team. And my general manager has been with me since day one, for 14 years. And my office manager has been with me now for 11 years. And I invest in them personally, professionally. And, I always go back to that saying, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And like I said, that investment in your people, you can't, I just don't think you can invest enough. You can't invest enough.
Well, I agree. And knowing you personally, I know how you invest in all things, including your relationship. So from me to you, thank you for doing that. You and I actually worked together with you to bring AnswerConnect in to support your community of Mosquito Squads.
Yeah.
Can you tell us how long we have been, or how we've been supporting you, and how we've been able to help with your scale?
Well, I would love to talk about y'all because, like I said, we've had I mean, in the 14 years that I've been with Mosquito Squad, we've had all sorts of vendors. I mean, payroll vendors, marketing vendors, so our formula suppliers. I mean, all kinds of vendors. And Karen, I signed up with you, I think the day I opened my franchise in June of 2011. So you and I've been doing this a long time together. And
Mhm.
when I look back, I think you are the longest running vendor that I've had. We've changed marketing vendors, but y'all's reliability and consistency just gives us as franchisees more opportunity to spend on things that are going to move us forward because we can depend on y'all. Your training is so consistent. Y'all get better and better every year, on especially on the different services that you can provide. When you and I first started, I don't think y'all could make outbound calls. And,
Right.
now you can make outbound calls. You're starting to get staff that can not only answer the phone in a professional, effective, and efficient manner, but you're starting to get folks that can actually have the sales conversation and make the sale. But
Mhm.
the value that y'all have brought to my location and to our brand as a whole is it's just multifaceted. I mean, you've helped us save money. You've helped us save managerial energy and effort. You've helped us on payroll because we use y'all for rollover and after hours. So, if our phones are busy and nobody in the office, y'all pick up and then after hours. So we don't have to overstaff, and
Mhm.
yet we still get, very comparable results. Um, everybody craves their time off, and they value their time off. And with that time off as a business owner, I know that my customers are being taken care of with y'all. Um,
Mhm.
y'all, you help us triage those calls in that if a sales opportunity comes through, you have a routing option for that can get to our people that may be on call. If it's a customer service issue that can wait till the next business day, y'all know how to triage that for us. Um, Thankfully, this doesn't happen very often, but when it does, we like to jump on it. But if there's an urgent situation, an upset or angry customer, again, we have a different triage route for that. So it just, again, y'all's capabilities help us as owners focus on the things that are going to move us forward. And that's just invaluable. It's just invaluable.
Well, I don't know what else to say except thank you for that glowing review.
Yeah,
We have worked
absolutely.
we have worked together for a long time, and sorry, I just appreciate all that you've shared. I know we have some people on here who have in-house call centers, and they understand the value of having the calls answered all the time. I also know that we have people who maybe have not considered that. Um, we'd love, to talk to you. But what I want to know is, does anybody have any questions? And Lauren, maybe you can help out because I can't see the chat.
No worries. Yeah, let's just give it about a minute or so. If you have any questions, please submit them to the chat box.
And while we're waiting, thank you again, Mariana, for all of your time and all of your years of just sharing, because you're a multi unit franchise and you own different franchise businesses in addition to your consulting and your growth. And you've always been available to give your advice, which is what I think that the franchise community has its PhD in, is just the giving back factor. And I really appreciate that. And I'm sure everybody else on this call also understands where that's coming from.
Well, and I will say I've had the privilege of joining the corporate team with Mosquito Squad, so I got to put my business coaching hat back on, and so I coach and mentor about 20 Mosquito Squad locations, and we're Mosquito Squad is a little bit more mature than Clothesbin, but we are still, growing and expanding. Clothesbin is a little bit newer concept, and it has just taken off recently. If anybody on this call is interested in either of those concepts, I'm actually buying another territory, and getting ready to crank that up. But it's just I've been so blessed to have found two of the best franchises on the face of the earth. I really have.
Awesome. It looks like we do have one question from Carol. She says, I would like to hear more about your experience with Clothespin.
Wow, Clothesbin. Well, first and foremost, anybody that's on here that is part of a franchise probably knows we have a very robust referral system. So if anybody is interested, please reach out to me, or if you go on the website, just put my name in as a reference and a contact. We get financially rewarded for that. But the Clothesbin is a green recycling concept that helps keep textiles out of the landfill while also philanthropically giving back to schools, churches, and nonprofits, or a commercial route of just paying rent to shopping centers and convenience stores where we place very good looking recycling bins. People donate their unwanted textiles. Once we have a certain poundage, it's brokered out for sale, and all of it stays out of the landfills and goes back into a recycling channel of some sort or another. And I've owned that for 5 years and getting ready to expand in that.
Great. We have another question from John. He says, Mary Anna, what was it about Mosquito Squad that made you start with them?
I'll tell you, John, I am a KISS kind of gal. I mean, it is keep it simple, silly. And the business model for Mosquito Squad was so simple. My technicians, it doesn't take a lot of training. I call it kind of a plug and play business. And the other thing is that we enjoy, I think the last statistic nationwide, we have almost a 71% renewal rate. My office has a 78% renewal rate. So that recurring income and building that snowball, just, you can't beat it. You can't beat it. I was in a business where, I had to go get new customers every single quarter, just to keep my paycheck coming. And I knew I didn't want that again. I knew I wanted something with recurring revenue. And so Mosquito Squad hit that and the simplicity model. And plus, have you ever met anybody that doesn't like mosquitoes? I mean, hello. It's almost like buying an ice cream franchise. Everybody likes ice cream and everybody hates mosquitoes.
Mm-hmm. It is indeed.
Well, it looks
That would be.
Oh, sorry, Karen, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that would be the number one reason that I would buy Mosquito Squad, is because I hate mosquitoes.
Yeah. Well, and it works. I mean, it flat works. And, we wouldn't have a 78% renewal rate if it didn't work. So
That's awesome. Well, it looks like that's all. Oh, no, it looks like Carol has another question. How much time do you spend on each franchise?
well, Carol, let me put my answer into perspective. So I'm 14 years in with Mosquito Squad. Again, my general manager 14 years, my office manager 11 years. So I have reached the point where I don't have to spend a lot of time in it. I do a lot, on the computer and talking with them, but maybe, I don't know, 5 hours a week, and maybe the same with the Clothesbin. But I'll be honest with you, there were, those first few years with Mosquito Squad, you might have found me curled up in the fetal position in my den, like, I can't do this. You know, I mean, we all know it takes grit and guts to be a small business owner, but it has, I would do both of them again. Especially resale opportunities with Mosquito Squad, to go ahead and buy into that, 70% plus renewal rate. If there's a resale opportunity in your area, I would so heavily look at that. So you could just pick up and just run with it. So yeah, but starting out, it was I mean, it was game on with both of them starting out. But that's with anything new.
Awesome. It looks like that's all the questions we have for today. Mary Anna and Karen, if you want to drop your contact information in the chat, just in case anybody has any questions after the webinar, so they can reach out to you. Great. And then it looks like that's it. So thank you so much, Mariana and Karen. This was excellent content and excellent feedback from all of you. We really do appreciate it. Again, this webinar was recorded, and along with the presentation deck will appear on our website early this evening. You'll be able to find that at community.franchise.org. Thank you very much again to Mary Anna, Karen, and the AnswerConnect team. And again, thank you to everyone for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day and stay safe and healthy. Bye.